Hello, everybody. Thank you for clicking on. We're watching a continuation from Wednesday night. We had a brief live on Wednesday night talking about the shooting at the end of the Kansas City Chiefs Super Bowl celebration parade, and we also talked about um, a a potential national threat. And so that's what we're going to open with here. We're opening with what's going on here. Um, you're seeing video. We just saw the two men tackle one of the gunmen. I believe there were three gunmen now. Two have been arrested. Both were teenagers. Both were in the black community. Right here where the cursor is, this is a gun, one of the guns that this woman is picking up and moving out of the way. This is the gun that he was carrying as he ran. They tackle him right here, as you see. The lady comes up, kind of kicks the gun to the side first, and then picks it up and carries it away. So just a little piece of what happened on Wednesday. Um, this is something we're going to talk about. Chris is going to be coming up here in a few minutes. We're going to talk to Chris about this. This happened at the National Archives in Washington, D.C. Ford Fisher News to Share has the complete video, and we're just going to. This country's founded on the. Okay, I want to go back and run it one more time from the start. Okay, you'll see that they have already dumped whatever it is they've dumped. And this is in front of the United States Constitution, the case holding the Constitution. You'll see everything's already happened, and yet security is just standing back here, standing back here. These two were talking. These two were having a conversation. You're determined to foment a rebellion. And we're going to talk to Chris about this response. Again, Ford Fisher, News to Share, friend of the show. And if if you want to see the entire thing, that's where you can catch it. Okay, this is another clip just with a closer up version of the woman picking up the gun. And we've talked a lot about J6 and the Freedom Corner and how they're out there every night. We're going to talk about this with Chris as well, coming up here in a few short minutes. We've got the link at the top, I believe. I'm hoping anyway. The link is at the top of the chat. Chris will hop on, and we're going to open it up as we do on Friday nights. If anybody would like to help up here with us, if you have something that you want to talk about that is not getting talked about enough, hop up and we'll hear what you have to say for a few minutes. And or if you have a question, or if you just want to hop up and say hello, the link will be at the top tonight. The January 6th, those that have been those that are awaiting trial or awaiting sentencing, or those that have some of those that have been sentenced, are held in a jail in the jail in Washington, D.C. And for those that don't know, every single night there is a group of 8 to 10 people that hold a vigil in honor of those, to remember those that they feel are being held as political prisoners. Though some of you know the YouTube channel Damnation Drive-In, incredibly innovative, entertaining, sarcastic channel. And while they aren't on a regular basis, they still put out some content. And shout out to Baldy. Well, you'll hear you'll hear here in just a second. This is a little parody they have made, um, and what they are parodying is something that's done every night. They do a roll call for everybody that's in the jail, and here's a little parody of that.
I've come to the realization that it's really the trolls that keep us going. Without the trolls, we wouldn't have this false sense of victimhood. They give us a reason to feel oppressed, even though we all enjoy the same freedoms that we've had our whole lives. So, having said that, I think it's time we devote tonight's roll call to the real heroes here on hashtag Freedom Corner. Let's take a moment to recognize them for their efforts to call out our fascist ways. Thank them for calling out our cult-like behavior. Thank them for protecting democracy. So here's the list of the true heroes. 1776, the mockumentary,
Hero.
American Doofus,
Hero.
Baldy Banks,
Hero.
Bike Tifa,
Hero.
Black Claude,
Hero.
Lost Money,
Hero.
The Cumish,
Hero.
DC Rats,
Hero.
Glorious Beef,
Hero.
Jerry Garcia,
Hero.
Joe Flood,
Hero.
Larry,
Hero.
Cavalrest,
Hero.
Fuck the Patriarchy,
Hero.
Sam Singe,
Hero.
and Spinnaker.
Hero.
And last but not least, let's honor the true princess of DC, Anarchy Princess. Say her name. Anarchy Princess. Anarchy Princess.
Oh, yes. So, a little parody of what is actually done there. If you want to see what's going on the corner of the J6 corner, it's easily found on most or many of the platforms, and a lot of them are just on Rumble at the moment. That's a different story we'll get to here in just a minute. And again, another thing we're going to talk with Chris about. We're going to talk with Chris about some police stuff because that's one of his expertise. If you haven't heard about this, here's the story.
Shots fired! Shots fired! Shots fired! Shots fired! You know. I'm hit!
Okay, for full clarity, and specifically so we don't get the video doesn't get taken down from YouTube, because this is not about violence. This is about an officer. Believe it or not, an acorn came down, hit the police car. The officer thought that a gunshot had been fired and hit the police car, and he opened fire on his own car. He opened fire on the car with a passenger inside, a suspect in the back seat of the car. The suspect was not injured. And then somehow he thought he had been hit. I don't know if one of the bullets might have ricocheted off the vehicle and came back and struck him. I'm not sure what it was, but that's the video nonetheless. And here, an unarmed 22-year-old black youth was detained, put into a police car. An acorn fell on the car, made a sound. The Hispanic officer used that as an excuse to pretend he was shot. I don't know if he actually pretended he was shot. And again, we're going to talk to Chris about this. Started emptying his clip into the occupied cruiser. And let me see if Chris is over here. And he is. So I should have been paying more attention. Say hello, everybody. Thank you for being here. Hello, S. Hello, not going away. We're just getting things started here, and we'll bring Chris up and say hello. Hi, Chris. How are you?
Hey, Barry. How are you doing this evening?
I'm hanging in there, man. I'm hanging in there. Just getting things rolling along here. So let's talk about these police incidents. Okay. Had you seen the video of the officer where the acorn hit his car?
I did, and the funny thing, it's not funny, but I wonder what the squirrels were saying above. Squirrels will probably like, yeah, watch this shit. This guy's cool. Watch this. I'm gonna drop this acorn. Watch him go nuts.
Looking at it from the squirrel's perspective. um, but yeah, I mean that's kind of a serious thing.
It is,
What the guy
and you know
did.
what? Here's the thing. Here's the thing, right? These guys go to the range, okay, so they know what gunshot sounds like. You know what I'm saying? Because
Yeah.
they're around that stuff on a regular basis. So, like for whatever reason, I don't know if he has some psychological issues. All right, but no normal law enforcement officer, right, is going to respond that way. Okay, because you hear something,
Okay.
because like you hear something that sounds like a gunshot. Okay, and then he said, "Well, you're hit." I'm like, "Wait a second, wait a second. You searched the suspect. You searched the suspect, right, to make sure he didn't have any weapons, and he's handcuffed behind his back. So how's he going to shoot you? You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Because I guess they said so. I mean, he's saying that I guess the gunshot came from inside the vehicle. I'm just like, you searched him and you found out he had no weapons. So how's he going to shoot you? And he's handcuffed behind his back. And now you're saying, he shot you, whatever. One shot, okay, and you
Yeah.
didn't confirm to where that shot was coming from, and you're hit, and then you sit there and say, "Well, I'm okay." I was like, "Bro, either he's got some he might have some psychological issues. He really might." Okay, but then the
Yeah.
female sergeant that was there on the scene just opened fire. You know, you know, listen, cops are trained to shoot if they're in fear of death or serious bodily injury. Okay, that's when deadly force is authorized. Right. Well, when you're in fear of death or serious bodily injury, or third parties in fear of death or serious bodily injury. Okay. And she didn't have, she didn't identify the target. He just saying it's coming from over there in the car, and she just starts lighting up the car. You see,
Hmm.
not it just it to me it just doesn't make sense. Okay. And then he finds out, oh, I'm okay, and I'm just like, bro, give it up. Just give it up, right? Because no legitimate police officer is going to respond that way. Like, I wonder how many years he actually had on the department. That's what I want to know.
Okay. So
Because if
that one, yeah, that one doesn't make sense. But the fact that a vigil has been allowed on the corner outside the jail in Washington, D.C. makes a whole lot of sense to you, right? That
say,
police aren't
could you repeat that,
interfering.
Barry?
Okay, the
Well,
vigil
yeah,
that's going on outside the jail, the police don't interrupt in that, and that makes perfect sense to you, right?
yeah, because listen, right now the whole sentiment in DC um, is kind of like they don't want you to do anything, okay, because they don't want to have to deal with any police complaint, any complaints or anything like that. All right. So just as long as you know you're not being violent or whatnot, you're not acting up, they're not going to do anything. They're going to sit back and watch, and that's all they're going to do. Nothing's going to be hands on. They're not going to do that, and that's just the way it is. They
And
trying
part
to these officers are trying to avoid any problems they can avoid at all costs right now because the way the city is and the way city council has changed has changed up the laws in DC because right now the cops pretty much they can't do anything. They really can't.
they don't have a protective bargaining agreement.
Oh, that whole collective bargaining agreement
Yeah.
has been scrapped. I think city council now, um, I think they have control over it, but I think the Supreme Court is actually supposed to hear about this and actually rule on it. That's the last thing I heard.
So from the police person perspective, the absolute best thing you can do is nothing, not get involved. Um,
Egg, exactly. Now, if they start, fighting and all that other stuff,
Yeah, yeah. If they
my whole
force
thing
you to
is,
get involved, you have
even,
to get involved.
right, but even when I was a cop and some, people were fighting, I would never, interject myself into that fight. You know what I do? I let you fight till everyone got tired, right? Then I lock you up. I'm not gonna let myself get injured. It makes no sense, right?
Mhm.
Why would I let myself get injured? I'm let you guys go at it. I'll let you guys injure each other. Then I'll lock you up and take you to jail, and I'm fine. See?
Okay. E Explain a little bit. You and I have talked about this, but explain a little bit of why it benefits the police officer not to do anything. Because not only do you avoid the paperwork, but you also avoid charges down the road.
Right. So here's the thing. Um, Before when I was a cop in DC, there was a charge, and it's a criminal charge called failure to take police action. It's called failure to take police action. Basically means you didn't do your job when there was, you know, a crime committed
Somebody
and
was
you
at risk.
didn't do anything.
Yeah.
Right. And now they've taken that law away. That is no longer a law in the books. They've taken that away. So so because they don't want you to do anything, right? There's no more failure to take police action. So you can't get in trouble. You see?
Okay. Yeah, this is
Because
going to,
you get hit with a failure to take police action, that's an arrestable offense. Okay, you can go to
hmm
jail for that.
hmm
All the U.S. Attorney's Office has to do is indict you, right? And from there it goes to trial. If they find you guilty, you're going to go to prison. That's how it works.
So that's been taken off the books. So there's no, there's no recourse to police being kind of forced to do their job. And and so there's no need for them to get involved unless, unless it's escalating or bodily harm to somebody. That's kind of the line, right? Bodily harm.
Right, right.
I mean,
So
as far as
if
actually taking people into custody and things in DC. The police will come in, they'll say, "Hey, go away, go away, go away." Keep people separate at times, but as far as, actually making interaction, bodily harm is kind of the line not to cross.
here's the thing. All right, so here's the thing. Like there are different scenarios. There are different ways of dealing with that. Your least the best way is, should we say, not to have any contact with anyone. Your police presence is your number one uh, use of force, because there's a what we call use of force continuum, and that right there, your police presence is your first use of force. All right,
It's
you
it's
just
the
being there.
deterrence. It's the show of
All right.
force that is meant to be a deterrence.
Yep. So like I get a call on the street, right, and like for disorderly, and I show up, that's your first level, me, like your police presence, right? So hopefully, if people see
Okay.
you, they'll just be like, "Uh oh, this is a problem. Let me just get up out of here," and that's what we want. That's how that works.
Okay. All right. One more thing here, as far as police oriented. Um, Let me run back over here to this. Um, the the security guards in the National Archives, in the um, Smithsonian, the various museums, are they federal employees? Are they private contractors? Do they have any authority? I know those are three.
You know what? If they're I don't know if those guys are contracted or not. They might be. See, Smithsonian has their own police. Okay, you have
Okay.
Smithsonian police, but then also I don't know if they have like special police officers or whatnot. But they all pretty much have the powers of arrest. Okay,
All right.
so I don't
This
know
is
what
in
the whole story
okay.
was behind that, but someone probably someone probably told them not to make that lockup. So
This is in the National Archives. I just want to show it one more time in case anybody. I would assume it was obvious what these people were doing at some point, and yet security is both. They're back here. They're holding up these pillars, and would I have gotten in trouble if I would have ran up there and grabbed one of those guys and jerked them out from in front of the Constitution?
oh and what the police officers?
No, if I would have done it, or if the dude right here, if this guy right here in the white coat, if he saw what was happening and went, no, man, you're not doing that to the Constitution, and went up and grabbed one of them by the lapels and yanked him away, the guy yanking the person away
That's a
would get more.
simple. That,
They would get in more trouble than the person
yeah,
trying
that
to destroy the Constitution, correct?
yeah. So that's a simple assault. That's what we call probable cause misdemeanor in the District of Columbia, right? And it's arrestable offense, but we don't really make an arrest like on that right then and there. What we do is just grab the individual's the suspect's information, and apply for a warrant, and that individual will get locked up. Seriously, that's how it works.
Yeah,
That's how
I
it works.
yeah. I mean, uh, isn't it kind of screwed up that the person trying to protect the Constitution would get in more trouble than the person trying to deface it? Isn't that a little bit fucked up? Screwed up?
Yeah. So 'cause it really comes down to destruction of property, right? And that's what the charge would be if you're trying to like really destroy the Constitution. This destruction of property, and inside a government building. So um, the that's like that's actually like a felony, right? That's a felony, destruction of property, and I don't know why they did not do anything. That's a felony
I mean,
committed
they're
in the
just,
presence of
they
an
were just,
officer.
yeah, they're just standing there. They're leaning. I mean, that one's got the arm crossed, leaning up against the pillar. No, they're not making any moves
Yeah,
to do anything, and that just, man, I found it really frustrating as an American.
yeah. So
Um,
I don't know what the reason behind. I don't know what the reason behind that is, but I know that destruction of property. Now my question is, was the Constitution actually destroyed, or was it just like an
no,
attempt to destroy
it
it?
was an attempt. It didn't destroy it. No,
Okay,
no,
all right. So yeah,
no.
that's an
It's
yeah.
under
All right, so
yeah, yeah. Um, but Lori Arnold said that Lori told me that one of the guys that did this had been arrested like 2 days before at another, because this was a stop oil. This was a stop using oil protest. The people that sit out in front of the cars and block the roads. Um, that's another thing, Chris.
so they're kind of like so they're kind of like on the left,
Oh yeah,
that like
they're the far
yeah,
left. Yeah, yeah.
yeah.
So
So
you would get in more trouble trying to pull one of them off of the road than they get in trouble for blocking traffic, even though it may be a situation where I'm on parole, and if I don't get to work, I go back to jail, and you're sitting in front of my car. Um,
yeah, yeah, so that's
aren't people going to
I mean
get
that's
tired of this pretty? Go ahead.
Oh yeah, of course. Oh yeah, people are going to get tired of it, but everyone's got their breaking point. You know what I'm saying? So eventually, someone's going to get really pissed off and let those people have it. I see that
Okay.
coming.
All right. I good. I'm pointing it out because we've shown the far right doing the J6 thing, and we're showing the far left doing the Constitution thing, and we've shown them with, gluing their hands to the pavement and things like that. Um, and I hope the extremes on both sides realize that eventually people are really going to get sick of them.
Yeah, oh yeah, oh yeah, sure.
Yeah. All right. So let's talk about let's talk about I want to at least mention it because I mentioned it, and I think I caught a lot of people kind of by surprise that weren't aware. Um, the Ben Gurion Canal project. Originally, it was
Uh
supposed
huh.
to come. It was originally supposed to come in from the Haifa port and come through the West Bank and down to Eilat. But now speculation is, um, as Israeli attempts to bomb Gaza into oblivion, speculation grows over an old plan to cut a canal as an alternative to the Suez. With the Gaza flattened, some think the canal might go straight through the middle of the territory, um, because it's going to be longer than the Suez Canal is now anyway. But if they move it
Hmm.
from Haifa, you know, this is just another, this is just another aha. That's why this is another reason. Not only is there oil there, they want to put a multi-billion dollar canal in that area.
Right, right. So, and that's how much did you say it was worth?
$105 billion
You said billion.
in construction. Billion, yeah. That's in the construction
Yeah.
of
So
it.
how?
I mean,
Right.
it's going to, and this is also maybe another underlying reason why Egypt is um, is getting set on the border of not only Gaza but the border of Israel, um, because I'm sure Egypt doesn't want this canal to go through there. And if I was aware of it, I'm sure the other Middle Eastern leaders were aware of it, the Muslim leaders in the Middle
Oh,
East, and they don't want
oh,
to empower.
oh.
Am I wrong?
It, no, but you know what, Barry? I I'd heard this like the after like the second week of the attack um in Israel. But I was
Talk of
like,
the
I was kind of
canal.
skeptical, but then I said, "Yep, that's exactly right." And now you're bringing it out, but I heard about it. I wasn't too sure. So, but yeah, and think about it. Who stands to benefit from this? Yeah, Egypt's going to lose out. You
We're going to
see,
benefit. We're going to benefit.
Egypt's going to lose
I mean,
out.
we being the United States will benefit. Israel will benefit. The European nations on the Mediterranean Sea and the Western European nations will benefit. Egypt, like you said, is going to lose out, and anybody um, to the west of Egypt, countries west of Egypt, are also going to lose out.
For sure. You see, so Israel really benefits on this one, right?
Yeah, and it's just another reason for everybody to come together and stop them, and thus try to stop us, since we're
Right.
shoulder to shoulder with Israel. Um, okay, um, I mentioned this. I mentioned this last week, and you and I talked about it briefly. YouTube live streamers that made money, quote, hunting for migrants along U.S. border by taking donations. Um, we kind of touched on it, and after we touched on it, actually, it came out on the 13th. Uh, Wired, the source, did an expose on these three guys that we were talking about on the Friday night before. Dennis Yarbury,
Uh-huh.
known as Master Grifter, um, and the other two. Well, after after the we kind of talked about it. Um, Wired came out with it. Then YouTube got a hold of it, and their channels have been taken down. Not only their channels
Huh.
they've been banned from YouTube. So yeah, um, I think that's we're gonna start seeing much more censorship on YouTube. Not that this isn't justified, because these guys did some nefarious stuff for a long time, but
Yeah.
I'm thinking we're going to see some censorship increase. Not that we haven't seen it already. And also the other night, Chris, and I wanted to get your take on this. Um, we had a national security announcement from the chairman of the Intelligence Committee in Congress that there was, that Russia had done something. And a few months ago, you and I showed um, where something had been released into space in the exact orbit of something else that was already out there by the Russians. And then, I thought, okay, and I said back then, you have any idea what this is? No. And I speculated that they're putting something together piece by piece. And I think they sent the
Uh-huh.
last piece up on the 9th. And I don't think it is a nuclear bomb that is meant to destroy all the satellites in space. I think it's much more pinpoint than that. I think it's an EMP machine. Um,
And that, that's what I heard. I don't know how true that is, but I've heard that too.
and one of the things that the Russians said that just clicked in my head and stuck in my head, they said this weapon is not designed to destroy humans. Um, which an EMP would not destroy human beings. It would destroy everything around humans and cause humans to destroy each other. But, well, right here, it says EMPs non lethal, but hyper destructive. Um, let's listen here for
Mhm.
just a couple of seconds to WION.
A matter of minutes. For long, experts have warned that key electrical infrastructure in the United States remains particularly vulnerable to an electromagnetic pulse attack, or EMP, likely to be orchestrated by China, North Korea, or even Russia. The Universal Peace Federation specialists have now said that the US is at a pivotal moment if it wants to avoid a potential doomsday scenario. But
Okay, so what I think, Chris, I think they've taken this, which is an EMP generator. This would
Yeah.
blow, this would take all the um, electrical capabilities out for a fairly short range. Um, I think they've taken this. I think they've shrunk it down. They've got Russian Sheldon Cooper from Big Bang Theory. They've got his team that have shrunk it down into where they can assemble it into a satellite, something no bigger than an average satellite, and pinpoint it onto cities, onto military bases, onto specific targets in the United States. And I think they're not going to tell us, they're saying Russia's still developing it. I don't think that's the case. I think Russia's already, it's up there and ready to go. What do you think?
And that's, yeah, that's, I'm pretty much thinking the same thing you are. You know, that thing is just about ready to go. But who knows when they're going to use it?
Right.
I guess when we piss them off enough, they'll end up using it. You know, so
Um, the
just to shut down my satellite.
And the only reason I'm saying this is because the United States government doesn't have a proven track record of telling its own citizens the truth. So I'm saying it's already up there. It's already put together just based on things I've seen over the past few months, and like you said, they don't want us to panic, but I mean, you can't really panic over something you don't know when it's going to happen. But I
Right.
would hope I would hope that telling us as much as they've told us would make the average person go, you know what? Maybe I should put some things away. Maybe I should prepare a little bit for something happening that I'm totally not expecting. Maybe the conspiracy theorists are not all freaking lunatics, Um, not that
Right.
not that they aren't, but speaking of lunatics, Tucker Carlson. Um, Here, let me share this. Um, Tucker Carlson said at the World Government Summit, quote, every leader kills people. This is actually after Navalny was killed today. Every leader kills people. Some kill more than others. Leadership requires killing people. Is this odd timing after Putin
I don't
has
know if it's odd.
Alexei Navalny?
I can't say it's odd
Is
timing.
Tucker a Russian spy? Is he a Russian asset?
Gee, I don't even know because I really won't watch Tucker Carlson. Um, I mean,
I don't either, but
he,
I mean,
he is a journalist. I mean, he has his own ideas. To maybe I don't know, maybe he is in bed with the Russians. I don't know. But I mean, he's free to go talk to whoever he wants to get their point of view, and maybe, it's good that we hear what Putin has to say, because what we're really hearing is what everyone else says. I want to hear it
right.
directly from him. You know?
But every leader kills people. Some kill more than others. Leadership requires killing people. See, I think Tucker's a lunatic because he doesn't realize he has leaders, and if those leaders decide to kill him, he will be dead. He has people above him that
Uh-huh.
couldn't. So he shouldn't be talking like journalists don't. I just I don't know. Something just smells fishy with all of this. With 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 all of
But
this.
here's the thing. Here's the thing with that journalist that ended up, what, was he killed? They killed him. They're saying
Which one?
the latest one. I forgot what his
No,
name
he wasn't a
is.
journalist.
The one that
He
just
was
died.
Putin. He was Putin's opposition. He was the guy that was going to run for president against
Oh,
Putin. The guy that
okay. All right.
they
All right.
tried to
All right.
poison
So
him back in like 19. They tried to poison him in like 2018 or 2019, and he survived. And he came back to Russia to challenge Putin again, and he got put in prison, and they killed him in prison. And on the day they kill him in prison, Tucker Carlson comes out and said, leaders have to kill people.
mm,
I don't know.
yeah, I don't know if Tucker Carlson knew that Putin was going to kill him, on the same day, or I don't know if Putin killed him or not, but that's how long was you supposed to spend time in jail, or was he going to get out, or what? What I mean,
No, he wasn't
because
looking. No, he was in the Siberian penal colony for a long time.
oh, so he wasn't getting out.
No, for a long time his attorneys didn't even know where he was. The prison system said they had no clue where he was. So
Wow.
yeah,
I mean, think about he killed who's the leader of the Wagner group, you
yeah,
know. Um,
yeah.
so I mean,
Pacheco.
Tucker Carlson could have been talking about, yeah. I mean, he could have been talking about that and the stuff that's going on in Ukraine and you see what I'm saying?
Putin,
There's so many.
now Putin said he didn't like Tucker Carlson. He said in
Really?
person he was, yeah, and he said in person he was rude. He kept interrupting him, um, and he didn't enjoy it very much.
Hmm.
So I don't know if Tucker's heard that yet. All right, I got something on screen here, Chris, and I don't think I can run it back. I think I got to play it all the way through. Anyway, this is I can't make it bigger either. All right, this is two separate scenes. This is at a bus stop in Brownsville Station. This side is the Brownsville side. So the other side of the fence is the Mexican side. I don't know if you can see or not, but there's a ladder on the Mexican side, and you can see a head pop out over the top. So you see a guy slide down.
Yeah.
Okay, the guy dropped a big parcel, and then he slid down. And here's what happens from the other angle. I don't think this has. Okay, the guy drops a parcel. He picks up this big parcel from Mexican side and shoves it into the I don't know, looks like some kind of GMC. And the other guy comes over to the fence, drops his parcel, which this guy then retrieves as well, a second parcel, drops it in there. The other guy goes back over to Mexico. Okay, I want to watch this one again. Okay, because right at the start, right after the guy throws this thing over, he climbs back up the fence and crawls over the. This is the only guy that stays over here. He takes 2 packages. Did we just see a drug deal?
Possibly. That's a very good possibility that was some
Very good
illegal
possibility.
narcotics. Yeah, for sure, for sure. That or some money.
It was well timed. It was well orchestrated. It was well orchestrated. It could have been money being tossed over there. Exactly. I hadn't thought about that. And for those that don't know, this is what the cartel. This is what one of the cartels looks like now. They don't look like what we've thought cartels to be in the past, right? As far as I guess how they've been portrayed in entertainment. But
Right.
are you surprised at how well equipped they are, Chris?
No,
I mean,
not
we're
at all.
talking we're talking
Not at all.
these are professional sniper rifles.
Right. So that's a 50 cal. That's a Scar. The corner one. It looks like they have some M4s.
This is a 50 cal here, right?
Yeah, it looks like a 50 cal. The guy on the ground on the far right, that's definitely a 50 cal. Yeah, that's
Okay.
a 50 cal. The guy to the left, that's a Scar. That's like a 308 round,
Okay.
and then I see some M4. I see some M4s, and I'm not sure what that guy to the top, the far left is. I can't
This
really make
one?
it out. The
Okay.
far left, yeah.
Over
So
here.
the guy, yeah, I'm not too sure what that is. It might be a 50 cal. I'm not sure. I can't really see it all that well, but it's a good possibility. But yeah, those guys, they got the money. They can buy all that stuff. It's not a
Yeah.
big deal. So
And
yeah, they can do a lot
okay.
of damage. So guess what? That's what they're showing you. What about what they're not showing you? That's what you need to be concerned
Right.
about.
Right. And just come back real quick. This is Navala yesterday. They showed him yesterday in his prison cell, and today he was found dead in his courtyard. So uh, Matt Gaetz, woman was paid to have sex with Matt Gaetz at druggy orgies in Washington D.C., and she has text messages
What
and
did I? What did I?
receipts, all shared with House
Hey,
Ethics
listen. What?
Committee investigators.
Remember we talked about this. Remember we talked about this,
Yes.
huh?
Yeah.
We told your audience. Matter of fact, I, we told your audience about the stuff that goes on in D.C. But people don't even understand and what goes on. But here it is. This is just confirmation once again. You see
Yeah.
about what goes on.
And this is my final story. Iran has claimed ownership of Antarctica and plans to build a military operation on the South Pole. Um, Iran says we have property rights in the South Pole. We have a plan to raise our flag there and carry out military and scientific work. Our scientists are, hang on. Um, Our scientists are getting ready for a joint operation encompassing the efforts of all our people in keeping with the guidelines of our leader. Have plans to put a permanent base on the continent. And here is a mock up of what Iran's permanent base on the continent. They'd be out there riding bicycles on the South Pole. So, what's up with this? Any idea, Chris, where this came
I have
from
no.
or why?
That's what. That's the first time I even heard of that. I really have. I've never heard that at all.
Okay. All right. Well, I like to break news on here. I like to have things that other people haven't heard of.
Mhm.
I do have other sources for this. This was just the best one, so it's a legitimate thing. It appears. Um, Antarctica is an incredible mystery. It's like it's off limits. Um,
Right.
nobody but military and science can go there, and
Hmm.
there's all the speculation that there's a hole in the earth there that Bird found and actually flew into, and there could be a lot of things inside this relatively big hunk of rock that we're on that we're not aware of. So it just made me wonder: is this Islam trying to stake a claim, or is this just Iran thinking there might be oil there? So I don't know. We'll find out. We'll find out. I always
Sure.
like, we always try to follow the money. So,
Hmm.
let me see. Is anybody all right? If anybody else, let's see who's in here. Hello to there's Lori Arnold. Hi D, peace, love, and sunshine. If anybody wants to hop up, um, feel free to do so. We'll be on here for a couple of more minutes. If you got, if we haven't talked about something that should be talked about. And there is one thing, Chris, that uh, somebody asked me to talk about this ozone. Um, ozone was part of the NFAC, and ozone ended up killing a police officer in Washington, D.C. Do you remember that?
No, he killed it. I think Ozone killed a police officer in Florida. That's where
Yeah,
that
I
occurred.
said Washington, D.C. I meant
Was it
Daytona
either
Beach,
Florida or
Florida.
Georgia?
I'm sorry, Daytona Beach,
Yeah.
Florida. And they're trying to create a
Right.
law there. What do you think about that law?
So what's the law pertaining to in reference to what?
That that basically, um, you if you resist a police officer in any way, shape, or form, you're automatically guilty. And if a police officer kills you while you are resisting in any way, it's justified. It's just I think a more intensification of how it's already interpreted.
Well, that's silly. Like if you resist an officer for like, you remember Eric Gardner, right?
Hmm. Yeah,
That Eric Gardner case. I mean,
yeah.
he
He
got
was a big
arrested
man.
for selling. Yeah, he was arrested for a nonviolent offense. You see, I mean, he
Hmm.
resisted. And he ended up dead. Like, is that like, you see? I mean,
So
you see,
yeah,
like that could be like, that's really bad. Okay, the guy resisted over like selling loose cigarettes or whatever, and now the guy's dead over that. Like, come on, because he resisted. That's taking things a little bit too far. You see. Now, if you're resisting, like say for instance, you have a warrant, right? A felony warrant, and it's like for a homicide, and you're out on parole, on something else, and where it's like, hey, we got a warrant for your arrest for this homicide, and you're violating your parole, and you wanna we want to fight us. Well, then yeah, of course, you know. But I think it should be based upon the crime, where you know that individual allegedly committed. You just can't sit there and say for all crimes, we can, if you resist, that officer is justified in shooting you. That no, that's ridiculous. I'm not
so
going for that.
it it's actually it's actually a lot tougher to be a police officer than a lot of people realize, because
Oh yeah, I mean,
and aren't the
here,
rules kind of always changing?
here's the thing: people don't realize as a police officer, you're actually a second class citizen, right? Because here's the thing: there are a lot of things that a civilian can do that a cop could never do and never get away with. Okay, as a police officer, you're always being second guessed for everything you've done. Okay, um, and that's the difficult part of really being a police officer. Okay, no matter how good you do it, there's always going to be someone there to say, "Well, you should have done this, or you could have done this." It's ridiculous. So, but like I said, being a cop, um, a lot of places like in DC, where it's extremely liberal community, you have a city council that's really liberal. And at the time, I remember Adrian Fenty was the mayor in DC, and he hated the police. So he made it really difficult on us, to really even get things done. Them a city council. So it really depends on the climate. Okay, your city council, if they're liberal or conservative. But DC is a extremely liberal city anyway. So city council and the mayor, for the most part, are always going to be very liberal, and they're not going to be on the side of the police. They're not. So
Does it
these are just considerations that we'll have to take a look at.
does the and this just kind of came into my head. Does 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 who the chief of the force is, does that um does that play into it? I mean, does that make, do the council and the mayor look more favorable on certain chiefs, or and I'm
All right.
bringing this up
So
because
so
Louisville had trouble with police chiefs. And what can
okay.
you kind of talk, we got a couple of minutes
Okay.
here, can
So
you kind of talk about the
yeah.
chief of
So
police and going
the
up
so
and
the
go and go ahead.
all right. So the chief of police is a figurehead. Right. He's appointed by the mayor. He or she is appointed by the mayor. Okay. And they are at the whim of city council. Okay. So if city council and the mayor don't want something done, the police force, the department, has to kind of cow down to city council and the mayor. You see, so a lot of times, city council and the mayor will tie the police department's hands, and then you'll see crime rise. You see, and that's exactly through legislation, in DC with city council. They they've taken a lot away from the police officers, so they really can't do their jobs, and it just makes it really difficult for the police department, and then crime just skyrockets. You see, and it's all on the part of city council. But not only that, um, you have the police are just one little part, one little cog in the wheel, right? So you still have the court system, you see, and what happens if like the assistant U.S. or the U.S. attorney's office doesn't want to prosecute, or the court's backlogged, like what message does that send to um, the use and the people out there committing crimes? You see, the police can only do but so much. City council plays a part in that. The court system plays a part in that. You see, so
I
it's
would
not just
assume
law
funding
enforcement.
plays a part in that as well.
I mean, yeah, police, the DC police is very well funded, very well funded. Okay, so like they have tons of money to get stuff done. Right? It's just a simple fact that city council they handcuff them on things, so like they can't get things done. That's how it works. And if you
Um,
think the chief of police if you think the chief of police runs the department, you're sadly mistaken. It's city council that runs the police department and the mayor. Because, like I said, the chief of police is at the whim of the mayor and city council. That's how it works.
yeah, and we've seen that in movies and TV shows, and the chief pushes back against the mayor and the council to try to do what's right, and he's a hero with the force, and the mayor and the council are the bad guys, and then the chief gets fired for what he did, and in the end he turns out
And
he
that's
was
and that's
right
and
or
that's
all along, and
yeah, but that's the politics of it. You see,
yeah, yeah,
that's the point.
oh, absolutely.
You got to play it wrong. They're paying you like maybe almost 260, 100, $250,000 a year. Yeah, you're gonna play the game, wouldn't you?
Absolutely. Yeah. um
Right.
Peace, love, and sunshine has a question. Chris, what conflict do you think is more critical, Israel or Ukraine?
I'd have to say Israel, because um, it's really going to affect us even more because of the oil. Okay, I've said this about a gazillion times. If we attack Iran, which I really don't think we're going to do. I really don't think that. And I said this on the other show, because has Russia has Iran's back. But then, like I said, Saudi Arabia could easily shut down our oil, easily. Okay, and we won't get any more oil from Saudi Arabia. We can't get it from Venezuela, because they've made ties with Russia, right? Iran and China. So they blocked us on that. So we better, we have to watch our P's and Q's when it comes to the stuff over there in Israel, in the West Bank and Iran. We really need to be careful, because that could really, not really, it's going to impact us on the oil front, and our gas prices are going to skyrocket, and you really need to be concerned about that. So I'm pretty
Okay.
sure President Biden is really, you know, contemplating, like, well, how am I going to play this? Because like I said, if we hit Iran, Russia seriously has Iran's back, and we don't. I really don't think we want to, uh, have it all out, with Iran and Russia and eventually China. You see, we don't want that. So we have to like mind our P's and Q's when it comes to this.
Okay. Um, and also looking at it selfishly, um, Russia and Ukraine. Ukraine is basically stopping Russia from any potential advancement western towards the rest of Europe. Um, we are not, in my opinion, we're not as in danger of getting attacked by Russians that are mad at us. Um, so I would say Israel conflict is more important, more significant at the moment from a selfish standpoint, because we are in danger of Islamic extremists getting mad at us over our actions in that region and bringing it home. So, let's see. Is it true that the Saudis don't want Israel to trade their gas or oil? Have you heard anything about that, Chris?
Well, let me tell you, the Saudis play both sides of the fence. You know that, right?
Yeah.
1 minute, they'll back up Israel and the United States, and the next thing you know, oh no, we're not going to support them. So you kind of really have to watch Israel. It's not what they say; it's what they do. Okay, so they say they support Israel and the United States, not really, because when the screw like when it really comes down to it, all those Islamic countries are going to come together. That's exactly, and we talked about this
Yeah,
about
it
this
just
numerous times.
hasn't happened yet,
But
but
all those,
I'm still on the
right?
same I'm still on the same track that eventually they all come together and attack Israel, and
Oh, they are. They
and
are.
then we'll see what
It's going to
happens.
happen.
Yeah.
Yeah,
All right. All
sure.
right. Anything else, Chris? Anything else?
No, that's it. Oh, but did you see that gas line got blown up in Iran? Did you hear about
The
that?
Iranian gas line. Yeah. Yeah. They
Yeah.
Iran initially
So
put out that it was a technical difficulty, and then they had to come back and say no, it was terrorism.
yeah,
So
exactly.
I'm
Yeah,
assuming it was Israel. I'm assuming it was the Israeli forces.
yeah.
I don't know.
So I told you they want to provoke. I told you they're trying to provoke this war. You see, that's what they really want.
Yes.
So, what
Yeah.
better way than to do stuff like that, right?
And somebody emailed and asked me if I was preparing to play Robert E. Lee in a Civil War movie, and no, I am not. Um, I'm not intentionally trying to look like Robert E. Lee, and the Civil War that we've been talking about is much different than Robert E. Lee's time. But thanks for the email. Thank you all for emails, by the way. You can email me at AmericanDufus, AMERICANDUFUS at gmail.com. And you can always leave a question or a comment in the comments below. Hit the subscribe. Today only, we're going to give 50% off. So all you got to do is hit the subscribe, and you'll get subscriptions don't cost, or not subscribe. Yeah, subscribe. Subscriptions don't cost anything. Um, I think that's it, Chris. I think we're just
All
waiting
right,
on the next set of things that make you go wow, because I think we'll probably have some this weekend.
right. So, for sure. Oh,
All right,
that every day is something new.
right. I'll see you Monday night. You be on at 9 Monday night with us,
Monday.
barring anything.
Yep, Monday night. Yep, Monday night. We'll be at it.
All right. All right. Thank you, man. Peace. As always, uh, always entertaining, informative, and there's a unfortunately that just the instead of the hits, it's the shits. The shits just keep coming, and now it looks like Iran's going to try to take over Antarctica. Hmm. Um, oh, one other. I'm going to drop this here at the end. A little nugget that I picked up in the um, open source intelligence area. Um, Russia has plans drawn up to attack Alaska. Um, as crazy as that sounds, a lot of crazy things have happened. A lot of crazy things getting talked about. So thank you all for being here. Thank you, Peace, Love, and Sunshine, not going away. Lori Arnold, D, and all of you watching, greatly appreciated. Most of you are watching at your convenience. I thank you for taking the time to do so. We'll be back Monday night at 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time with Chris again. Talk about what's going on. Until then, love y'all like chocolate chip cookies. It's a dark world. Try to be a light. Thanks for watching. Hit the like, hit the subscribe, hit the little notification bell, hit the share, and peace. We'll see you next time.